You don't have to sacrifice your dreams to be a great parent. The world has sold you a lie that you can't chase your ambitions and raise amazing kids at the same time. But that's only true if you buy into their limits instead of living by your values. If you keep believing you have to choose between family and purpose, you'll end up resentful, exhausted, and modeling burnout instead of possibility for your children. I'm Andrew Russell, founder of DadderUp, and I'm on a mission to promote and celebrate what it means to be a dad. You know, it's funny, a little tongue-in-cheek, here I am talking about tips for parents finding work-life balance and really crushing it, celebrating their flex as it relates to work-life balance. And recently, I actually completely dropped the ball, which did help me in some of the talking points of what we're gonna get into for some tips and strategies for success, but totally dropped the ball and really, on the surface, upset my oldest daughter. So, I do a ton of content, as you can see, podcasting and YouTube and short form, long form, this form, and my daughters kind of grew up into it a little bit. They do love it. They do like watching YouTube and the shorts. I probably let them watch a little too much at home. Not too much, but probably a little too much. And I was doing some content with them, and over, some of the questions my team, sometimes you have a digital team, which I have, they ask your kids questions, and it's kind of cute, right? But my older daughter, they were asking her questions. It's like, your daddy's always on his phone. What would you want for, a gift? Daddy to put away his phone. It was just over and over again. I started to get frustrated, and I was kind of embarrassed, and I was kind of upset. I was starting to be like, this isn't funny anymore, Daniela. It's like time to, tune this down, and we're not going to be embarrassing dad in front of his, coworkers anymore, right? Over and over. Put away your phone, whatever. So finally, we stopped. We started doing other types of content. And I was upset. I was kind of quiet. I think she saw that I was a little upset over it. And I was like, listen, you really embarrassed me. So, I'm doing the whole 10,000 step thing. So I went out and did, some of my steps. And she was actually waiting for me, believe it or not, when I was done at the front door. And she knew I was upset. She's like super intuitive. My older daughter's a super empath. And I said, look, you really embarrassed me. I said, I love you and your sister so much. I love doing content together. It's going to be great memories in the future. It's just fun. We'd enjoy it. And all you did was make me feel away. And then she said, Daddy, she's like, it's true. You're on your phone so much, and it makes me sad. And she actually started to cry. Not a weep, because I would have started weeping too. I'm definitely a crier. My eyes get a little bit leaky. Proud to say I'm 6'3", anywhere between 250 and 320, depending on how many, jet tailgates that I attend. But I'm definitely a leaker in the eyes, so regardless, I was leaking when she started crying. But it wasn't, she was just honest. And I was so blessed at that moment, and I realized that she just wasn't able to communicate to me that she felt in her world at 9 years old that I was on my phone a lot and I wasn't as present as I should be. And for whatever reason, it really bothered her. So instead of getting defensive, like in any relationship, right, whether it's a partner, it's business, or it's your child, instead of getting defensive, I took a step back, took some deep breaths, stopped the leaking after giving her lots of hugs and kisses and, all the physical touch, quality time stuff I do with my kids, their love languages, just like mine. I really thought about it. And I was like, so tell me how you feel. And number one. And number two, why haven't you told me this before? She said, I feel like you're on your phone a lot, and I see you're on your phone a lot, and it really upsets me. And also, she said, I'm not comfortable just telling you because I don't want to hurt your feelings. And I was like, oh, it's so brutal, right? I mean, how much of a blessing is it that my older daughter, I'm a big guy, I'm definitely a large guy, and she's my little Daniela, but I'm not saying I'm intimidating, but I'm still a very large guy. So I was like, I didn't give her an environment for her to express herself. And she's being so innocent and objective. And you know what? She's right. I am on my phone a lot. Am I on my phone endlessly and incessantly? I don't know if it's that bad, but I'm not going to tell you I'm an angel. I own a mortgage company. We have this amazing DadderUp opportunity here. Requires a lot of communication. Communication now is smartphone, between emails, texts, WhatsApp messages, Slack. I mean, it just never ends with the technology. I'm sure any entrepreneur can empathize. So it really got to me. So what we did was we created a word. We actually created, not that we created the word, but we say chicken. So if Daniela says daddy, chicken. And again, I'm blessed that I'm even daddy still. Soon I'm going to be dad. Next thing you know, God knows what I'm going to be called as my kids get older. And I love these ages, these, toddler ages are getting a little bit older. And now I'm not even sure what they're called. But daddy, chicken. That's going to be our secret, our term. So it's kind of cool. At my house, I actually made the laundry room my office. It's like a joke. I say, all right, kids, go into the office if they were bad. And we're going to have a private talk. So I can go in there, shut the door. I'm a lot taller than them, so I pick them up, put them on the laundry machine, so we're kind of face to face, and we have real adult, mature conversations, which they really appreciate. But for Daddy Chicken, that's going to be our place. We're going to go there and I'm going to say, all right, Daniela, I'm not going to talk. I'm just going to listen. Tell me how you feel and smile. And she did. So as an example, she said, all right, we'll start now. We'll practice now. I'm like, sure, Daniela, let's practice now. I'm being parented by a 9-year-old. It's exceptional, right? So we went in there, shut the door. The younger one, of course, is like, what are you guys doing in there? I want to go in, which is hard enough when you have 2 kids, but it's a blessing. So what did I do? Like any good parent, I let her go on her iPad, right? While I was talking to the older one. So regardless, went in there, picked her up. Daniela, what's up? Let's talk through the chicken. She said, look, you're on your phone a lot. It really makes me feel away. Sometimes at soccer, I see you on your phone, or, here, when we're having dinner or whatever, you like your phone, whatever. And so I said, listen, how about we do this? How about we come up with some non-negotiables where during, certain things, non-negotiable, I will not be on my phone. And then there are sometimes you understand that I have a job and I have people to answer to besides just you and your sister. So we come up with those times. So we decided that when we're together, I will not be on my phone except for when I'm crushing the dad game and letting them play Roblox. And of course, the most important, steal the Italian brain rot. So literally, I have the massive agreement and benefit that when I hear tra-la-la, tra-la-la, and blueberry octopusini and cappuccinos and Matteos, all this crazy stuff, which blows my mind, I am eligible to go on my phone as they play the most wild game that I've ever seen that somehow they're obsessed with. And that's when I can go on my phone, answer the texts, answer the emails, take the calls, but still be present with them, still on the couch. But we agreed. Is it fair, Daniela, that I go on my phone when you guys have the 30-minute window to play, steal the Italian brain rot for when things are spawning? And it's kind of cool, but kind of not really. And she said yes. So we have this cool agreement, and we kind of rolled this out. And it's been super successful. I can tell a big change in how she feels, based on how much more present I am. And it's not the easiest, guys. Like, can you sit here and watch them play soccer every second when they're not really even playing? The phone is, whether it's an addiction or it's, a diversion, it's still something to do. So it's not the easiest thing. But you got to listen to the universe. You got to listen to your kids. And that's what she wanted. So we came up with a negotiation, which is I will be more present. I'll do a better job. But there are certain times that I have to be on it. And we clearly laid that out. There's always going to be feedback from me. Hey, Andrew, I get it, but I can't slow down. That's not the truth, right? I could tell you, not that it changed my life, but, as an example, reading Dan Martell's book, Buy Back Your Time, a lot of stuff makes sense. I feel like in the day-to-day, in the stress, especially if you're an entrepreneur or whatever you do, there's so many things you just don't realize because you're going through it and you're in it. You're in the war and you kind of can't strategize on how to win the war while you're in it with being a parent sometimes is very analogous to war. Bombs going off, poopy diapers, this kid's crying, this kid spilt on your white couch that you promised that you would never let them eat on your white couch. So sometimes you have to work on the strategy up front. So, strategy specifically, there are ways to delegate, to not have to do everything, to be able to be off your phone or more present. Does the world end if you have an hour or two window with your kids? Does the world end if you don't answer your phone after 8 o'clock? I don't know. You'll have to answer that for yourselves. There's a lot of concepts around that, whether people agree, whether people don't. I've seen so many and read so many articles about entrepreneurs and them being also a present parent. And do they separate it completely? Do they intermix it? Do they not even care as long as they're there? They don't think the kids even care. A lot of strategies. I'm not going to tell you what I think is the best one right now. I can tell you what I believe. You can afford to slow down. You just have to make the executive decision that I want to slow down, which I did, and then come up with strategies on how to slow down. And of course, Andrew, come on, guy. Work pays the bills, right? Kids have to understand someday. So yes, can you have a conversation with a 7 and 9-year-old, 2 little girls, cute little blondies, and go like, look, girls, Daddy being on his phone is what pays for the bills, gives us the opportunity to go on vacation or the indoor water parks and, always go to the movies whenever we want and get all the popcorn and do all the escape rooms that we love and go to all the zip lining and rope climbing courses that we love. That's what the work does. Sure. Do they get it? No. Should they get it? No, they really shouldn't. So yes, there's a level of having to support your family and, show up from a business perspective, be able to take care of them as a provider. But what is the point of it if you miss out? Because guess what? You can get all the money in the world, and I can tell you this for myself. There are moments, and I'm definitely present intentional, that I would love to, the one thing I missed for the meeting that really probably wasn't even necessary, but my head and my brain at the time was so necessary. I was going to be out of business. I wasn't going to get any more business if it wasn't for going to that meeting. Guess what? The person probably canceled. They were probably late. So just understand, guys, there are no redos in parenting. The biggest thing when tons and tons of seniors, of retirees, what do they live with, especially with all the money in the world? Regret. It's the worst thing in the world to live with, which is regret and the shoulda, coulda, woulda. So I'm telling you from personal experience, yes, kids get it. You make money, you provide, and that's all great. And it's necessary. And I respect that, guys, and I appreciate that. But when you miss things, you miss it. There is no redo. There is no Netflix, Amazon. Those are the moments. The moments are what builds the relationship and what you're left with. It's the moments. It's not the money in the bank. It's not necessarily, chasing the financial dream. It's all those special moments. And that's why you had children, to be there for them through the ups and the downs. But don't miss the moments, guys. The kids know that you're working hard for them. That's great. But on top of that, what's more important to them? Is it the money you're bringing home, or is it being there first row in their third grade, play, or in the chorus when they finally make that, or for their soccer game, or for even their move up day, right? From fifth grade going into middle school, whatever it is. Those are the things that matter, and it's worth more than its weight in gold. And of course, yeah, Andrew, I'm already stretched thin. What more can I do that I'm already doing? So that's just like a wave the white flag, excuse making comment. I get it. I balance a lot myself, right? And think of all the things that dadders, what do we balance? We balance business. We balance body, which is, health journey potentially. There's always spiritual side if that's something that you're into, whether meditation or religion or just, grounding yourself in the morning. There's all sorts of really cool things that you can deploy. And of course, you can end with, yeah, Andrew, I'm already stretched thin. What more can I already do? Now, that sounds like an exhausted wave the white flag kind of comment. Because look, life is hard. I'm not going to tell you that it's easy, right? If you have all the stuff going on in your life, you could have business. You could be an entrepreneur and be opening businesses. Or, like in my case, starting DadderUp, which is going to be a movement completely redefining what it means to be a presidential father. It takes a lot of time, right? So there's that, which I chose to do this. It's my passion, but it takes time. There's your body, which is like your health, right? Health is wealth. So there's, 10,000 steps. As you can see, I wear the Fitbit, but 10,000 steps takes a lot of time. There's the gym, there's diet. Planning out your diet and being healthy, it's a lot of time. So that's the decision that you can make. Being, right, it could be religion, could be spirituality, could be meditation, whatever you're into. Then there's, of course, balance, which to me is really family. Family is a lot, especially if you're potentially a single father, a divorced dad, or a flex dad, which is a stepdad, or there's any type of dad, right? A brand new dadder, which is someone who's just about to have a kid. So there's so many types of dadders in the world. And that in itself is a full-time job. But guess what? It's up to you. I can't force you to do any of this stuff, guys. But what I can tell you is it's all doable. It's all attainable. But in anything in life, you don't just wing important stuff. And that's the whole point of these conversations, especially the DadderUp community. The whole point is you don't wing it. Anything good in life, you don't go to the gym and wing it. You don't diet and wing it and just, have no clue. Spirituality, there's books, there's Bibles, there's all sorts of things, right? There's Torahs, there's all sorts of stuff. You don't just wing it. You ask for direction. You go every Sunday or whatever it is that you practice. The same thing goes for being a parent. You don't just wing it. So put the white flag down, stop waving it. We're going to get through it. It's a lot, but I'm recognizing it's a lot, but I'm challenging you to really step up to the plate, to really do what's necessary. We say always in business, do the thing, to do the thing. It's not about what more you can do. It's about deciding to you, number one, what do you want to do? Which of all the things I said, maybe some more stuff in there. What is important to you? It's your life, right? What's important? Pick which one or which ones are important to you, and then take a step back, number two, and come up with a plan. How can I do all of these? By doing all of these, what does it do to the other ones, right? If you're working on work, between the kids and between the work and the kids and the body and the balance and the being and all that stuff, they all have to kind of interweave. You can't do them all at the same time, right? There is specific time for each. What are you going to prioritize? How are you going to do it? Because it's all attainable. But you have to decide, number one, what's important to you. And number two, come up with a strategy so you're not exhausted, you don't feel frazzled, and you have a strategy for success. All right, guys, here are 4 tips and 4 strategies, 4 things I want to talk through that I've either learned on the fly, in fairness, or I've kind of studied, asked, researched, read the articles on how to improve work-life balance, and that in my personal life with my kids has really helped me excel at being more intentional and more present. Now, the first one is carving out specific time for just you and kid time. No electronics, no outside influences. And I did talk about it, in the story with my oldest Daniela, as an example, because of the mistakes I made with being on my phone so much, I carve out time to be with them when I'm with them, outside of them using electronics, whatever it is, which I try to obviously mitigate. Not the best for kids. But regardless, if they're doing certain things, that's when I can kind of carve out time to do my business stuff. But otherwise, I'm all in spending time with them. So I found that the 2 hours of being present is not deleterious, not destructive to my work experience. Nothing goes wrong. The world doesn't end in an hour. Us entrepreneurs think if you're not by your smartphone, something can happen and the world ends, you're out of business in 5 seconds. Not the case. I could tell you from personal experience. So that's something that I do without a doubt. And I also, something that I've always done is, for instance, dinner time. We deploy a no electronic, hyper-focused time at dinner where we literally sit together at the table. We eat together, we talk, we do all sorts of great things from a quality time perspective. We've come up with so many traditions, which I talked about in other videos and other podcasts, where one of them is look to the left. I love this tradition. I created it just randomly and from my brain when we were, having whatever it was, maybe some Mogu Chinese food at the time. Who doesn't love Mogu? Healthy Chinese food, right? Nonetheless, delicious. And all right, Danielle, look to your left, and the person on your left, which is her sister, Gabby, say, what do you think if Christmas was tomorrow? What would they want as a present, right? Look to your left and say, if they can go anywhere tomorrow in the world, where would they go? Or, of course, our favorite. What's your favorite color? Daniela, just like her dad, is always blue. Gabby, it depends on the day and the moment and the way the wind is blowing. It could be light pink, if that's even a color. It could be rainbow. It could be anything. So it's just funny. I think she does it to trick us. But it's the coolest tradition. It's cool because guess what? The game progresses. As they get older, there's more mature things. If we got another dog, what would you name the dog? Or, if you could eat the following 4 items, what would it be? We have so many cool things. That's a tradition, but it does come from the root of it is spending quality time, no electronics, me as an entrepreneur, being able to take a breath, put the electronics away or even the job away and put on the hat of hey, I'm a present father. I'm a dadder right now. I'm going to crush it. And, crush dadding, of course. And I'm going to show up in the ways that my kids need. I'm going to do it right now. And that's some of the stuff that's built the best memories. So do me a favor, guys. Before I get into the second item, go in the description, click the link, and you can join our DadderUp community. So DadderUp is what I created as a founder. It's completely redefining what it means to be a present intentional dad, where you have a community of other dads you can lean into. But just like we're talking through in this video and this podcast, just like those specific things for a strategy of success, we have what we call a DDS, our daily dad or success, where every single day, depending on how old your kids are, and if you're a flex dad, which is a stepdad, or a biological father, and depending on their age and just a lot of different factors, we're going to tell you exactly every single day what you should do. It's like your workout of the day, right? But it's way cooler than that because you're investing in your flex. We call it return on flex. We're investing in your children, in your legacy, right? The infinity symbol. So make sure you go in the description, click the link, and join DadderUp, where we're going to completely on the day-to-day hold your hand. I'm doing it with you guys, help you crush it every single day to show up and be intentional for what matters the most, your kids. Now, that second item is, and what I've learned, don't bring work home. So what does that mean? Bad day at the office, didn't sign that client, someone's busting your chops. Maybe, something happened and it just really was a bummer. Market's off, somebody tweeted something and stocks tanked and, you're losing people money and as a financial analyst, whatever it is, entrepreneur, didn't get the grant, something didn't happen. Life happens. We don't bat 1,000. Things happen each day. We know it's not fair to your kids coming home and just unloading all this on them. And maybe don't come home and you're naturally not abusive and God forbid, but you just come home literally like a tornado just rolled in through the front door. So number one, you have to admit that you do this. Most entrepreneurs, if not all, at some point have done this. I've done this, right? It's always on the way home, so excited to see my kids. I get some really horrible email about something going wrong with one of the loan applications through my mortgage company that I know I have to fix. So now that's on my brain. It's not going home, seeing my kids, loving on them, hearing about their day, playing a little soccer, playing, the Italian brain rots or whatever these games are now. But specifically, I'm not doing that with them because I'm coming home like a tornado, obsessed over my job. So a strategy, guys, a real cool takeaway that I've discovered, and it's good for relationships, and it's definitely good for being an amazing dadder. 10 minutes out from your house, if you're driving home, put your electronics on silent. Everything. Just put your smartphone, the radio. I don't even know if people listen to the radio anymore. Whatever it is, turn everything off. Silence. Now, take deep breaths, right? And you've seen I think it's Andrew Huberman, the big breath in, inhale again, and then let it out at a nice slow cadence. I can tell you, if you do that for 10 minutes, especially if you're stressed, no matter what happened, the electronics off, if you do that for 10 minutes, you park your car, do another one in, another one in, and then out, you will walk in a more calm, more calm dadder. You will show up definitely as the dad that they need you to show up, which is loving and patient and all that. I mean, everyone's had a bad day. Everyone comes home and the kid does something, they drop something, and you snap at them by accident. Maybe it's not even a bad snap, right? But you did it, and it just was uncalled for. It's not, they're able to be kids too, and I know everyone would agree. But a specific strategy that's really changed the game for me is it's a simple mind-body thing, which is number one, having a moment. Number two, turn off all the electronics, all the stuff. Take those deep, yummy breaths, as we say. It'll give you the opportunity, truly, guys, to walk in, not as a tornado, as calm seas. And of course, that problem, it's going to be there whether you walk in the house, right before bed, the next morning. Those kids, that moment will never come back. So just understand that, surrender to it, but find a way to never come home as that tornado. And this strategy, without a doubt for me, it's totally changed the game. Number three, which is so important, guys, be realistic and don't set yourself up for failure. And what do I mean by that? For me, right, if I drop my kids off at school, I have to leave at a certain time. If I don't leave at a certain time, my oldest misses flute class, flute lessons, and guess who hears it? This guy. So I don't do it. I leave on time. But to do that, we have to leave at a certain time, which means they have to wake up at a certain time. If they have to wake up at a certain time, guess what? Papa Bear has to wake up at a certain time. So what I've always done, especially in business, I just really go to the second. I overbook things, I over calendar things, I have things kind of overlap, and I just kind of like go for it, wing it, and just make it happen. Well, don't do that with your kids. And I can say that from personal experience. I have found to be realistic. Don't set myself up for failure. Don't say, you know what, I'm not going to do it tonight. I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning at 3 o'clock. Guess what? When I have my kids, they're a lot. There's so much fun. Now we're doing like all sorts of like sugar on my tongue, all sorts of, wild, TikToks. But regardless, it's tiring, right? I'm not a 25-year-old spring chicken. I hate to say that. And I'm definitely, improving on the cardio side, but it's a lot. I sleep like a rock when they're there. But I used to say, I'll get up at 3. I'll get up at, 3:30 to finish the stuff. And I'm now more realistic. I make sure I time block and allocate business stuff at the right time. I'm not overcommitting to things or saying in my head I'm going to do something when there's no shot. I'm just very at peace knowing what I can do, what I can't. But I'm honest with myself, and I know by doing that, I'll never set myself up for failure. Specifically, hey, if I have something for them at 3, I make sure I get there early. I used to, especially with my work schedule, go right to the second. And you know what happens? Meetings are late. There's traffic. It's always raining on the day that you're right on time. There's an accident on the way. So just make sure you don't set yourself up for failure with anything your kids, especially with some of the time blocking stuff. Just make sure what you commit to, always hedge. So that's a big piece of number 3, which is hedging. Always account for the thing that you're not accounting for, which is the extra change of clothes, the traffic, them that morning being cranky or having a fever, God forbid, or not eating the delicious egg sandwich that you just spent 7.5 minutes making that you're proud of eating, but you can't eat because you're on a diet, which is a whole nother story. And now they don't want to eat. And now you're kind of like, well, what are you going to eat? I can't have you go to school and not eat. I think they call CPS on that kid. So that's something that I always recommend, which is, and I've learned this through trial and error and just learning it the hard way. Don't overcommit and make sure when you set up your day, especially with your kids, that you hedge, give yourself some additional time, and always account the thing that you didn't account for. And fourth and last, but as they say, certainly not least, is guilt, right? Guilt, shame, always like a coulda, shoulda, woulda. Look, as long as you show up with intention every day, like in DadderUp, obviously we have our DDS or Daily Dadder Success. It's something to do every single day. As long as you're confident that today you're going to put in the time, effort, and energy. It's not a 24-hour thing. Like if you wake up and you replace scrolling on social media or, your audiobook, 5 minutes of it, and you replace it with being intentional. How am I going to show up today as an amazing dad for my kids? What am I going to do to make them feel loved on, that I'm present, that I'm in there to give them great memories? As long as you work on that every day, no matter what you do, it's nothing to be guilty of. There's nothing to be, have shame around. You have guilt and shame typically when you don't do the thing, right? And of course, because you should have guilt and shame. Like that is a viable, accurate feeling at the time because you don't get a redo, right? You missed the opening night of the movie. Now you can go on Saturday night instead of Friday. Or you missed going to the game. It's on TV. It's recorded. You could just watch it and not, check, some of the sports apps that they have. But unfortunately, with your kids, you miss it. You'll never be able to experience that ever again. So I get it. But as long as, I promise you, as long as you commit to yourself and commit to the movement of being a present, intentional father, commit to yourself to being a dadder. the guilt, the shame, it kind of goes away. It's just a natural human emotion. There's a multitude of human emotions, right? I think they made a movie about emotions. You know, I remember kids are like, oh, anxiety, or whatever that movie is where there's all the different cartoon characters with all the different emotions. Guilt and shame, that's part of it. But don't let it weigh you down. You're never going to, just understand, compartmentalize. You're never going to bat 1,000, but nobody will ever, especially yourself or anyone, will ever judge you if you show up every single day, you try every single day. Again, I can tell you this as one of the dadders. You know, I'm not sitting on a mountain saying I'm better than any of you guys. I am within you. I make mistakes. I do my best. I intentionally show up, but there are times I haven't. I mean, I told you my oldest daughter called me out on failing, which sucks. Like, it really stunk. You know, but I can tell you is don't live in the negative. Don't live in the shame. Don't live in guilt. We all make mistakes. Take a minute, kind of work through it. But just make sure if you're intentional every day, and this is something that matters to you, which it obviously, we've been talking through, and it certainly should. So again, guys, if any of this resonated with you, you have to go into the description, click the link, and join DadderUp. This is a community and a movement that's completely redefining and reshaping what it means in this society to be a present, intentional father, loving on your kids, showing up with intention, getting our daily DDS, our daily dadder success. What can you do today to really level up your game? Because guess what? Nobody does anything. Like, do you sail a ship without having an idea or navigation or any of that stuff? Of course not. You don't drive with your eyes closed, right? There's at this point, GPS, auto-driving cars. Don't be a dad and just be out there at sea with no clue what you're doing. Join the community. It's in the description. Click the link, and we will hold your hand. All of us, the Teetum, together each dadder achieves more. Our community is called the Teetum. We will each bring each other up when necessary, lean into each other when is needed, but also we will tell you every single day how you can tinker at it and work on your craft. Make sure you join the community. If you're ready to keep showing up stronger for both your career and your kids, make sure you watch the next video, and let's dad.